Hey kids, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. I am wearing my Panthers hat today because I'm a hockey fan. We have a Gibson Les Paul on the bench today. Beautiful example. Let's get to work. We're doing a setup and restring with this. Beautiful example. P90s, gold top. Really dig it. It's 2005, I believe. Good client. He gives me a lot of his guitars now. I'm going to test everything first. I already have the truss rod off because I'm pretty certain it's going to need an adjustment. It is in a back bow, which is no good. First and foremost, I want to make sure everything here is working. We are testing a new microphone today. I hope that it works well. Oh, got a little noise there. These P90s are loud. It's the bridge one that's loud. Everything there is working. Okay. It's just good practice to check that stuff. Get all done with everything and realize you got an electrical issue. We don't want that. All right. Honking guitar. It's not super heavy, but it's got a nice profile on the neck. I think it's a 21-year-old instrument. Starting to show some body checking. Yeah, the neck is way too straight. Wow. And this client's complaint usually is buzzing or the string action is too close. And a neck and a back bow will absolutely cause that. So we are going to remedy that. 3/64, 2/64. Wow, really, really low. I'm going to actually adjust that now and see if it stays. Because there's not a lot of cleanup to this. I think I can adjust it and keep these where I set them. Just make a quick adjustment now before I restring it. Yep. Let's see what that got us. Love that. I'm going to back it and put just a little pressure back onto it because I got it right where I want it. Just the slightest little pressure to hold it. Of course, we're going to recheck that when we get done restringing it. I noticed something here before. Got no bueno. The high E is touching. I don't want that. I don't like it. That's a good place for a string to catch and possibly break, and it will cause tuning instability. You want to be able to slide a piece of paper under that. It's almost there. Just has to be clear. There, see the paper goes under it now. The rest of them, usually the middle ones are fine. It's always the high E or the low E. You want just enough space to put a paper under it. Yahtzee. We'll do the pickup height and the intonation after we restring it. Let's get them off. Let's get them off. Noisy. That's a nice feature on my new microphone. I can mute it when I'm making too much noise, not to blow you guys with the headphones out. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm going to check our first fret action once we get it all strung up. Everything there looks good. It's got an interesting kind of slotted with a stud sticking up through, and I haven't ever seen that one before. We'll get that adjusted. String height later on. I am going to clean up the frets slightly, a little bit. They're not in terrible shape. I'll get those cleaned up, polished a little bit. Oil the board, of course. Yup. Let's see what we got here. These are not in terrible shape at all. They're actually pretty good. But now is the time to clean them when you have the strings off. That one's got some striations on it. It was never polished completely when it was put together, probably. This is just basic procedure. I do this on all my customers' guitars. I do it on my own, of course, too, every time I restring. There's no reason not to. Clean them. Get the stuff off. If they're really bad, then you have to, take further steps. Take them off. Really get after them with some, a better process, a more in-depth process. That one's got a few striations on it. But for the most part, they're in really good condition. He's got a lot of Les Pauls, this guy. He's got a lot of Les Pauls. I'm lucky enough to get to work for them. When he needs something done, he comes and gets me. I'm digging on that. A few striations on that one, but not horrible. So all in all, they're in pretty good condition. Oil. Linseed oil, say it over and over. For those of you that don't know, it's the stuff you want to use. It really makes the wood come alive. And helps it keep nothing worse than a dry fretboard. You can go as far as you want with this. You can leave it on for a long time, but it's not totally necessary. Usually I will leave it for a few minutes, which I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the video here. And we'll just let this soak in for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll wipe off the excess. So stand by. So yeah, come back and start taking the excess off. Self-explanatory stuff. And you'll be surprised at what comes off of that board, even though they look clean. If they're really dirty, sometimes I'll get after them with a really light brush and wash them, scrub them. But this one was not bad. You can see the difference in the color too, as I always say. It brings back that luster in the wood. I think it does anyway. And I'm sure it shows on the video. Make sure you're mindful of each side of the fret. You're not leaving any glops of oil. Most of it gets soaked in. And then the last process I do is to get right on the frets themselves. One last polish. And I say it all the time, yes, you can go much farther with polishing frets, but these did not need it. Sometimes I get them and they're absolutely a disaster, and you have to go farther. Tape off the board, sand them with, start with a coarse, and then you go to medium, and then fine, and then ultra fine, and you're taping off each one and really doing a deep clean, deep polish on them. This does not need that. At some point in the future, he may want to do it. We'll point out that there are some striations on some of the frets that they probably just were never finished properly from the factory, but you know, they're smooth to the touch. And if it doesn't affect the playability, don't get in a twist over it. It's my opinion. Just my opinion. A little bit of wipe down, never hurt anybody. Guitar is really quite clean, but I like to do it anyway, because now's the time to do it. You fella. Gold top doesn't show dirt much anyway, but this will clean it, and it makes it much softer, and if you get a fingerprint on it, it wipes right off. That's what this stuff is for, right? One. It's called One. Great. I wonder if my new microphone with sound cancellation is going to keep out the noise of the wood chipper down the street that he decided to just crank up while I'm filming. Well, we'll find out. I'm not going to stop now for that. Just my luck. Why? Because my name is Blackjack. That's why these things happen. It only happened to me. I'm certain of it. I like it. Beautiful instrument. Beautiful instrument. I like working on Les Pauls. I like working on all guitars, really, but I like it when a customer brings me something that's not a complete and utter disaster, sweaty beer, DNA all over it. This one's pretty good. Pretty clean. And to be honest with you, most of his instruments, when they come to me, are not in terrible shape. Some people, well, I'm just going to say it, some people are pigs. Treat their instruments like they won them in a raffle. They don't treat them with respect and keep them clean. A clean instrument is a happy instrument. I've gotten some doozies in my career. It gets to the point sometimes where they're so bad you have to call it a restoration, because it's gotten to the point where some of them are so bad you have to completely dismantle the entire instrument, gut it, take it apart all the way down to nothing, and do a deep clean. Because wiping it down like we just did won't cut it sometimes. Come on. There's always one string that's difficult. Now, fit exactly right. What I want to do first, before I forget, is a little bit of lube, tune it lube. Put a little dollop on the bench, a little dollop. Get your Mr. Magoo eyes on. You want to put just the tiniest little bit in each saddle valley, and I mean just a tiny little bit goes a long way. And you may think, it's too much trouble. Well, no, it's not, and it does help, and it facilitates smoother playing. It facilitates smoother playing. Yup. And then when we get done, get the strings all on, we'll just, if there's any excess, we dab it off. The important part is to get it under the string where it's going to rest in its moving points, its takeoff points, which is at the saddle and at the nut. Measure to the next peg, bend it, stop at the bend, wind it, first wrap over, all other wraps under. I'm going to pause while I do the rest of them. I'm not going to bore you with that entire process, but measure to the next post, put a bend in the string, stop at the bend, the first wrap goes above the string hole, every other successive wrap below it. You want to have at least one wrap above and at least 1 to 2 underneath if you can manage it. Stand by. So you get them all on there and then tune it up to pitch, of course. I like these tuners, they're very responsive at a low ratio. Get them tuned up, stretch them. This helps to seat them and pre-stretch them. Seat them, you kind of tug on them a little bit. Hold it at the first fret. Just give them a sturdy tug. Get them set in their takeoff points at the saddle and the nut. Check my intonation right now. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, somebody got that right, at least. Yep. So we're all strung up. Now we go back to rechecking our adjustments. And what do I mean? Well, we want to recheck the neck relief, of course, and then we can go to string height, make sure this is adjusted, and then pickup height, basically, because intonation is good. The new strings put a little more tension on it, so it's got too much neck relief. So we got to bring that back slightly. Might have had lighter gauge string on it, I don't know. There we go. I can live with that. That's right. 12 thousandths at the 7th fret. And now our back bow is gone and we have just enough relief to facilitate vibration of the string. Now, very, very important is our action, or our string height. And I'll bet you it's still a little low for my liking. Yeah, I was afraid of that. With string tension, it does not want to come up. I like the Epiphone style that has a flat head right here. And you can just... Unfortunately, Gibson hasn't followed suit with their underling company. It's really fighting me. All right, stand by. So off camera, when we paused, I was trying to check and adjust the string height. Well, these things, remember when I said at the beginning of the video, I go, oh, I've never seen that exact kind of, well, that's a locking sleeve in there. And this one was frozen in there. I had to take all the strings off again and ever so slightly get that loosened up to be able to make adjustment here. And this one was already able to loosen. And then once you get it set where you want it, you have to kind of snug up the sleeve. Like this one's almost at the top. This one's about halfway. That is a boogered up design. I can tell you, I I'd never seen one exactly like it, and I don't like it because it took me a long time to get it. You should be able to, with string tension, to just swing these up and down. I guess Gibson, in their wisdom, decided, oh, we need to put a locking mechanism on a a system that has worked for 60 years, 70 years. Let's improve on an already perfect design. There you go, over engineered again. I'm done ranting, but boy, sometimes you gotta wonder what people talk about in boardrooms. Oh yeah, let's improve on a perfect design. Yep. People more likely than not trying to justify their paychecks. Corporate muckety mucks. Are you feeling me, folks? There. We know the intonation is set. We know the neck relief is set. It took me a hot minute to get this set to the string height, which is something that should take literally minutes. It took me an hour, because it was whoever worked on it before had this one locked so tight in there that you couldn't get it to come loose, and the post was protruding through the middle of it, so you couldn't get a flathead on it. Yeah. Still, oh, am I still ranting? Sorry. Let's get our pickup height set, and then he's good to go. This one's a little close. This one's a little too far away. There, that's probably too close now. Oh, perfect. Way too far away. Way too far away. Get up there. Yeah. I can tell you the last guy didn't pay attention to the pickup height because it didn't go down by itself. It was just never ever probably brought up to the proper adjustment. That's what I'm saying. That's pretty good. That one's not bad. See, I can commiserate even over the simplest adjustment forever until I get it exactly where I like it. It's called OCD. Some of you may have heard of it. There. And that one's too far away now. Yeah, some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may suffer from it. Oh, I do from time to time. Come on, you. What is wrong with you? I can see it coming up, but it's not registering on the feeler gauge. There we go. I can live with that. That one's okay. It's good. Yeah, I can live with that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Wow, that's a sweet sounding instrument. No need to plug it in. I'm not a guitar player. I've said it a million times. But we are done with it. Beautiful example of a gold top Les Paul. I think from 05 we said we dated it. Really don't dig on the bridge. If I was him, I would take that out of there the next time we string it and put a regular one in because that thing is boogered. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Thanks for all your comments and watching and your support. We'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe.